right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. And hello, everybody in the audience. Thank you so much. And hold on one second. Ah, that's not what I wanted. There. Okay, we're good. I don't want the echoes. So we're good now. Okay, so I have a couple of canners on the dresser over there, and we can talk about those. But first, did you have anything? I know you said you had some questions that you wanted to go over or not go. I don't know. I don't know what you wanted to do, but
well, we have a series of frequently asked questions, and so the question I looked up today. Sorry about that.
That's so perfect, though. It's perfect for this.
One of the things is, do I have to keep the jiggler on my can, or can I switch it to a weight? And some canners you can switch it from a jiggler to a weight or a peacock to a weight. So there are ways to change that. If you don't like what you have, you can change it. So that is the answer to the frequently asked question this week.
All right. Well, that's actually a really good question. I don't know if you guys are familiar with pressure canners or what. I am definitely not familiar. In fact, I got this pressure canner, the one that you see on the right, the tall one, from my friend Michelle over at the Heathstead in Oklahoma. She sent that to me, and it's basically a brand new Presto pressure canner, and because she got an All-American and she said she didn't need it anymore. I also have a couple of weights and stuff like that, and then I have the other shorter one is a shorter All-American, and that has a different feature on it because it's an older edition. So I thought we could go over those and look at them and go over the differences between the All-American and the Presto, and then talk about the weight. So let me mute myself here and I'll go to my other camera.
This is a really good, for people who are trying to decide what kind of canner they want. It's really good to pay attention to these details because it'll help you in your choice making about, your decision making process about which kind you want. So.
Yeah. Okay. So. Can you see that?
Yes.
Except for my finger? Okay, we're good. Okay. The only reason why I'm doing this with the other camera is because I can't move my computer screen. So this seems better. This is the All-American I just purchased. I got this at a flea market for like $20. So I don't know if you can tell us a little more about this or not, Tammy.
These canners run in the 125 to upwards to 310, depending upon how big a canner you want price range. So they're at the high end of the price range for canners, but they have some really great features. First of all, there's no rubber gasket to replace. So between the lid and the bottom of the canner, there is no gasket. It just sets right metal on metal, and you have the little screws, and usually there's 4. You tighten across from each other, going around. So that's a nice feature. You don't have to worry about breaking down or needing replacement parts for those. Gaskets usually break down with high use. I've replaced 2 in my lifetime on new canners, 1 each. So, you'll have to replace it once every 10 to 20 years. The All-American also, I don't know if you can see it on here, it's underneath my time clock, but they have what they call a peacock. So where you vent, there's no weight to put on, but they have this little flip thing there. You vent through that, And then when you are done venting with your venting time, which is usually 10 minutes, you flip that down, and that starts to allow it to pressurize. So that is a really nice feature. I really like that. On the other one, you notice that's where we put the weight. It has a vent port, and you put the weight on. And then it has a gauge. And you'll notice both usually have a gauge, not always, but both usually have a gauge. So. And then on the...
Now, I got a question about this. There's several different weights on here.
Yes. You do different things at different weights.
Can you see them?
And also the weight you use is very dependent upon your altitude. So at lower altitudes, you'll use a 5-pound weight, and sometimes for certain items, you would use a 5-pound weight. And then where I live here in Michigan, my altitude, I use a 10-pound weight. But if I lived up in the mountains of Colorado, I would need a 15-pound weight. And so that's why the Presto has the different weights. You can use that to determine how much pressure you build up in your canner. And then the All-American is just a gauge. And you watch your gauge, and you turn your heat down to keep your gauge in that weight range. There's 2 things you have to watch when you're canning with a pressure canner. It's your time and your weight. You are muted for me, Miss Courtney.
Sorry. Oh, there we go. That's better. So there's a time and there's a weight.
Yes.
On the weight, or on the pressure canner. Now the weight is called several different things. So if you guys were confused, I was told that it was called a wobbler. Okay. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, I was so confused. But out west, that's what they call it. And so when you're looking for something of that sort, make sure you're looking for weight, a weight, pressure canner weight. Because I tried to look up wobbler on Amazon, and that just wasn't a thing. So
here in the Midwest, we call it a jiggler. Wobble, jiggle, I don't know. Is it a jump? Funny. I don't know.
There's also several different things I noticed that are completely different from the Presto versus the All-American. And the Presto actually has silicone rings on the inside, and the All-American doesn't. So you never have to worry about changing the silicone rubber in the Prestos, or I mean in the All-Americans, because they just don't have one. I noticed that. That's
a really nice feature.
What about if you purchase, like I did, an All-American? I got that All-American for $20 at the flea market. So what happens if you purchase it and you need to know if the gauge is good?
To your county extension office, and they usually have somebody there who can test it for you.
Okay.
Many Midwest hardware stores also have the tester, or if you want to, I think they run I've seen them between $100 and $150.
Okay. So if you want, I can't do it. So I would take it to my extension office. I was really, really lucky because we went to the fair, and the fair had booths set up, and one of them was the county's extension office. So they had everything set up for us, and like the master garden classes and stuff that I wanted to take. So I can go up and get it tested there real easily. But some people don't have that they can't connect to that easily. So look up their phone number or something online for your local county extension office.
A lot of the mom and pop hardwares, the old Ace and True Value hardwares, they have them, and they test them for free because you're going to buy your replacement parts there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's see. I know there's some scary things going on with pressure canners. People freak out over them. And I'm not really freaked out when I found out, that picture that's going around online where it's like the pressure canner exploded and the lid is in the ceiling and all of that.
There's a lid in
Well,
the ceiling, but there's also one in the oven. Did you see those? They
I
don't
didn't
have
see
two
that
lids
one.
each.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, they don't have that many lids. And by the way, it exploded and knocked the vent hood one way, but then it was embedded in the ceiling at a different angle. If you've already hit the vent hood, you're not going to go the other way and be. So it wasn't even. I mean, somebody took a sledgehammer to the vent hood. It wasn't even the same accident, or they've had a really bad accidents in their kitchen before this. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's not real, guys. So if you're scared about pressure canning, don't worry about that so much. And one thing that has kind of got me used to pressure canning too is working with my I got an electric one for cooking beans and stuff. And like I was scared to use that thing too. It kind of gave me anxiety a little bit. But then you realize, like, if you mess up, you can let the steam out, take a spoon, pop the steam up, and then start over. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And, with the electric one, I have a Duo Instapot or whatever. And,
they all have that little safety plug.
Yeah.
And you'll notice your canners have that safety plug too.
Yeah, it's like a little rubber thing or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that pops out of there. There's a hole. When that pops out under, and I don't know what amount of pressure it is. It's more than 15 pounds of pressure. But when it pops out, then the steam escapes, the pressure goes down, nothing more happens. Those horror stories, something has plugged both of those vent ports for those things to happen. That means you haven't been cleaning your little ports like you should.
Yeah, so explain to us how to clean those ports and what to look for, especially if you're like, say for instance, you're buying one from used somewhere. What to look out for?
Make sure that silicone is still soft and pliable, or rubber. The older ones, it was rubber. That it's still real soft and pliable so that it will pop out, because that's what it's designed to do. And then you can take it out and you can run a little pipe cleaner to clean it out. If you think, if you see that there's something in there, or it looks like it, or you just want to feel good about it, you can take it out, clean it, put that back in. It's just a real easy piece to take out in and out usually. If it isn't, then you probably need to replace it.
Yeah. And you can pretty much find, like you said, I noticed that Ace Hardware, the last time I was there, they have like all the parts. They have all the silicone, like all the gauge, what do they call it? I don't know, the rubber things that you put in there. They have all of that. Gaskets, that's what I was thinking about. They have all that stuff there, and I noticed that. And we're lucky enough that we live really, really close to Hartville Hardware in this area, and they're owned by Lehman's. Now they merged, so they have like all of that stuff there too, which is stuff that you don't normally see. You don't see that stuff at Menards or Walmart or anything like that. So they have the oddball stuff that you need for pressure canning.
And I live right near the Amish Hardware here in Clare, Michigan, and they have a 10-foot aisle of just parts.
Nice.
For every kind of canner that's ever been made. They have replacement parts. I was just amazed. I was like kind of taking some video of it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be videoing in here or not. So, but I was like, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to take your All-American and make it look like a Presto, they have the parts to do it. If you want to take your Presto and make it like an All-American, you kind of have, I mean, there's some basic features that don't change, like, the screw handles and stuff. But if, you don't like the wooden handles on your Presto, they've got metal ones. Or you want to replace them with the wooden ones, they still got wooden ones. It's, you can pretty much take an old canner, and I used to get them for $3, $4, $5, and totally make it like new.
Yeah. That's so cool. And okay, so all canners typically come with a ring at the bottom. Or like if you have a water bath canner, they come with that basket. Tell us the importance of the basket and the ring that you need to have at the bottom and why your jars can't touch the bottom.
You don't want your jars to touch the bottom because you want the heat to be evenly distributed inside your canner. By raising them up slightly, you're allowing that water to flow through. You're allowing any air bubbles in there to not be trapped and to also flow through so that you can build up the right pressure above your jars, not underneath them. So that it's all water down there and not air, and everything can circulate. You want the air pressure circulating in there and getting in between all the jars.
Okay.
And they will break. If you put them on the bottom, you're going to get a hot spot. They're going to break. They're going to shatter in the canner. So you're more at risk for jar breakage and loss of your food.
Yeah, you definitely, especially now with food costs and everything like that, you definitely don't want to be breaking jars. Well, that not only that, jar costs, jars and lids and all of that is expensive. So it's really important to do these things the right way. So that way you don't have a costly accident.
And a big mess to clean up.
Yeah. Yeah. I only had one accident. And I was making pickles, and the jar that I used must have been really, really old and had a crack in it. I didn't see it. That's another thing when you're washing jars and stuff. It's best to do them by hand too, to wash them and then sterilize them, because that way you're looking and you're inspecting your jars as you're washing them. I always hold them up to the light to see if there's any cracks or fractures or anything, and particularly at the bottom. That's when you always see like a crack, like a ring or something going on at the bottom. I don't know why, but
run your finger around the top. That rim is where you make your seal. When you run your finger around the top, you can pick up little microscopic nicks, or like if it's not smooth, if it hurts your finger when you run around the crop, that jar's not going to seal because there's something wrong with that rim. And you need that part right there to be smooth and even. And if there's the lightest little disturbance when you're running your finger around it, that's when you'll pick up the nicks and cracks and irregularities that your jar won't seal.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what else I could possibly be scared of when I run my pressure canner, but I believe next week I am going to, it just depends on what I'm doing specifically on that Friday, but I want to can kidney beans. So I'm hoping that we can do a live of the canning of kidney beans. And if not, if I got too much going on because I do have a kid here, maybe we can just can water, and like I can do that. But I hate to just can water. I want to do something cool. So maybe I will do kidney beans, and maybe I can get out this All-American and really do something on the show here. So that sounds cool. You can pretty much can anything, guys, from the grocery store. There are certain exceptions, and you have to be a rebel in order to can those items, but you can pretty much can anything. And you can buy stuff at the grocery store. Like the other day, I saw a sack. I was so freaking excited. And my mom doesn't get this canning stuff. So we were at this place. It's called Green Farms. It's a grocery store near us. And it's like all organic. It's just like Amish organic, like, one of those places. And they had a sack of potatoes, seriously, a 50-pound sack of potatoes for $20. And I was like, oh, I could get that and can it. My mom's like, why would you do that? My mom's so weird. But I was just like, that's so exciting that you can get a 50-pound bag of potatoes for $20. That's amazing, And I was like, oh man, I should have got it. But like I said, I'm new to the pressure canning aspect of this. And I'm like, I don't want to go overboard, because what if I screw something up and then I paid all that money?
Well, start with the easy things. Start with the things that are easier to can. And I'm going to tell you, beans are one of the hardest things to can.
Oh, great. But I have 2 bags of them here. I need to get it done.
The key to beans is to not overfill your jars because they swell so much.
Oh, okay.
So that's the key. If you're canning them the by the book way, you soak them the night before so that they already swell.
Okay.
So that's what makes it hard, is because people are like, oh, it doesn't look like enough, and I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then they pop open the lid because they swell so much while you're cooking them and canning them. They pop open the lid, they make a mess, and they will plug that steam port real fast.
Yeah. Well, I've never been known to do things easily. Never in my life. Like my garden, like the second year, it was all out. It was all out. Like I never did anything. You know how they always say, "Oh, start off small." No, I just started off big. And it's been that way ever since. So, yeah.
And I don't even garden the normal way. I'm over here going, what can I put in my food for us? Because I don't even want to, garden the normal way.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just hard-headed, and I just think that I'm just hard-headed. I know I am. And I just want to do it, and, I don't know. I think that's a challenge in me too, and I'm the same way when it came to sewing too. I love to sew. And the first thing I wanted to do was sew Victorian dresses. That is my era. I love that Victorian period, and
it's the hardest.
It's the hardest. But that's why I wanted to sew. Like people are like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, because I love it. And I sewed Victorian jackets. I have Victorian dress. Like I just really got into it. And I just, and if you have the passion, even though it's hard, if you have the passion for it, you're still going to push through, and you're still going to learn how to do it because you really want to learn how to do it, So that's my take on it. So. Hey, Stringfield Ridge Farm. I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring the chat. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Jess, The Best Life. Who else is in here? Uncle Al and Gil. And who else? Yosi. Thank you all for being here. I know Q Kitchen was here, but she said she was on her phone, so she couldn't participate as much. Gardner Josh, thank you so much, you guys, for being here and learning a little bit about canning. The first 2 episodes here that we were doing is we just wanted to go over the basic stuff, to teach people, to just, go over the little stuff that people are scared of when they pressure can and stuff like that. So
there's no reason to be scared. It really is. If you can cook in your kitchen, you can can. If you can boil water and not have the pot burn, you can can. If you're not watching your pots, then okay, you probably shouldn't can. But if you can watch the timer, watch the pot, you can can.
Yep. Kathleen is now she is canning onion stock right now.
Ooh. Yummy.
That sounds so good. I love onions. Love them.
I love onions and I love garlic. There's no such thing as too much onions and garlic in it.
I know. It's so good. We just made 17 jars of salsa last night. And we cut up peppers and onions and garlic. And we grew garlic in our garden this year. And we used some of that. And then I had 1 cayenne pepper from the garden. And I chopped that up and put it in the last little bit of salsa. So we got 3 or 4 jars of really hot salsa. So it's exciting. But yeah, so we were really, really happy to see that post in Rebelcanners about a person just posted why did my salsa get mold on the top of it? I don't know what she did. I don't think she put lemon juice or citric acid or anything like that in it, or it didn't seal.
Vinegar, something.
Yeah. It didn't seal. We didn't put vinegar in ours, but we put citric acid in every jar, just to keep the acid content up so it doesn't spoil. So, yeah. And then we didn't really follow any recipe either, but I used Mrs. Wage's salsa packets and I put those in her. We had so much. We had 3 gallons of it. So I threw in 2 packets of that Mrs. Wages, and like we didn't have to add salt or anything to it. It was just perfect. It was so good. And so we just, we were eating it too as we were going along. It was so good.
Oh, I love fresh salsa or pico de gallo. And I actually haven't made any yet this year. The tomatoes are just coming on here, so I really need to make some fresh.
Yeah, that is so good. Our tomatoes, we have tons still. There's still tons to pick, and I got some. We pick them early enough, and then we set them on my windowsill so they turn ripe. Because if not, here it rains so much that it could rain and they could all just crack. So we pick them a little bit green, and then we either set them on our sun porch or we set them in the windowsill, and then they turn colors. And then that way we know for sure that they're ripe. Because if not, you get a bunch of green tomatoes. Yeah. But yeah, so it worked out. It worked out perfect. God, that was the freshest salsa I think I've ever made. And I threw in cilantro. I just went all out. Yeah.
I am one of those people that I do not have the gene that makes cilantro taste like soap. So
I don't either.
I love it. I don't know what I'd do if I had that gene. I'd be so sad. I'd cry. I just absolutely love
why does my salsa taste like soap? No. But I love it. I love cilantro. It just, especially when it's mixed with other things, like it just enhances the flavor of garlic and onions, and it's just so good.
Everything. It makes it fresh. It makes it crisp. I love that fresh crisp. I'm sorry to those of you that have the gene, but it just makes everything have that, just one more layer of fresh, crisp goodness.
Yeah. What was it? Oh, I didn't plant. So I had cilantro in the beginning of the year, and it really loves colder weather, and I didn't know that. So I didn't plant any, but I'm going to, I think, plant some for the fall and going into the fall, because it does like the cooler weather. I noticed that last year when I planted it, it was getting hot, and I noticed I didn't get what I wanted out of it. It wasn't bushy or anything. Yeah. And then I read up on it. You think most herbs and spices and stuff like the sunlight, but cilantro is one of those ones that just really love the cooler weather. And it overwintered even. I had some of it over winter, and it popped up. I was excited about that. So I'm going to plant for the fall. I
like to grow it, but then I harvest it for the coriander. Because the seed of cilantro is actually the spice coriander. So, and that is one of the main ingredients in my pickling spice. Oh. So I harvest it, but I harvest it for the seed too.
Yeah. It's so good. Oh, hey, Teresa. Thank you for coming in. I chopped extra cilantro. I just love it on my salsa. Oh yeah, it's so good. It's so good. When I make enchiladas, it calls for chopped cilantro over the top of them before you put them in the oven. It's so good. Oh yeah. It's one of my favorites. Oh, you use parsley instead. I just harvested a ton of parsley yesterday, and lovage. I planted a lot of lovage this year, and the only reason why I planted lovage is because I didn't think my celery was going to do as good. And I thought, well, if lovage tastes like celery, I'm like, I can use that instead. Yeah. And so my celery did really good. I ended up getting like 16 pounds of celery, and I still have a ton of lovage. So I'm going to dry that out and use it for soups and stuff. So.
We put parsley in every single thing we cook. It's a blood purifier, and it helps remove toxins from your body. So we literally put dried parsley in everything we cook. I don't think I make anything I don't sprinkle some dried parsley in there.
I loved this the video of you cutting the celery. Oh, dude, it was horrible. Okay, that was my first year planting celery. I planted the pink celery, and I didn't realize how fragile pink celery was. So I'm really lucky that I had that feeling in my gut that it wasn't going to make it. And I bought Chinese celery from Baker Creek and we chitted those seeds and I started those. And those are the ones that really, really did good. And so I had a heck of a time. I didn't realize that celery had a tap root. And I'm trying to yank those out. Now, the only reason I would have kept them in, but the only reason why I wanted them out is because I have trays of cabbage in my basement started and ready to go. And I wanted to put cabbage in that bed. And I'm like, I can't do that if I have like celery still trying to grow, you know? So, yeah, the roots on it was like a dandelion root. It was like trying to rip a dandelion root out of the ground. It was horrible.
Some celery grows this big thing like a potato or a big round root. It's called celerac, and you can actually eat the celery, but you also chop up that celerac and eat it like kind of like a potato or a root vegetable, and it's actually really good.
What is it like? Is it more like a cabbage taste, or does it taste like celery?
I don't know. It's like a funny tasting carrot. I don't know how to describe.
Oh, that's
cool.
Sort
of like if you married a potato and a carrot, that's celerac. I don't know. It's just
because kohlrabi has that ball too, and kohlrabi is like so kohlrabi. Good. Oh, yeah.
Celerac is a lot like kohlrabi.
Yeah,
because it's like something you can eat raw, but then it also isn't bad like cooked as a root vegetable.
Yeah, I started a ton of kohlrabi this year. I can't wait to get that going because it's just I've never ever got to the point where I cooked it. I always eat it raw. I cut it off, I peel it, and I dip it in ranch dressing. It's so good. It's so good.
You know you can pickle it. You can cut it into little matchsticks and pickle it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That would kind of be like cabbage. Like that would be like sauerkraut or kimchi or something. That sounds good.
You can make it into sauerkraut.
Yeah, that sounds really good. You can pickle celery root. You can ferment it. Is the most healthy part. Yeah, I didn't realize that, and I threw out most of those. But I used, I was so happy this year because I literally used everything from my garden to make my tomato juice and to make my tomato sauce. And I used my carrots, I used the celery, I used the garlic, I used the tomatoes. Everything came directly from my garden this year. There was nothing that I had to buy at the grocery store, and I was super excited about that.
That is amazing.
That's like how you
amazing, Courtney, that you could do that this year.
I was excited because that's my goal, is to like make all my own food. And sometimes it doesn't work out because my onions this year didn't really work out that great. My garlic did great, but my onions not so much. And there's some vegetables that are super harder than others to get them going. But I literally used everything from my garden this year, and it's right down to the celery. I was like, yes, this is amazing. It's so cool.
That is really amazing.
Yeah, I was excited. I make kohlrabi salad with onions and cucumber. Oh, that sounds so good. I love everything about that. And then, you know what I would do with that? Oh, wait, you already said that. Never mind. You said onions. I would do like sour cream and vinegar and salt and pepper up in there with the kohlrabi. Oh, gosh, that sounds so good. Yeah. You're making me hungry, guys. Making me hungry. I have a question to ask you. Because now I'm getting sugar pie pumpkins, and I got like 3 or 4 of them out there ready to go. Now I wanted to can them. What can I can them? Can I?
Yes. One caveat though, you have to can them in cubes.
Okay.
If you want to be USDA approved, you have to can them in cubes.
Okay.
Although I do know some Rebels that still make the pumpkin butter, and they believe that if Libby's can can it at the exact same temperature and the exact same pressure as we do at home, that we should still be able to can it at home.
Okay.
But to be USDA approved, you can it in cubes, and then when you open the jar, you drain off the liquid, puree it, add any liquid back from the jar if you need it to be thinner or.
Now,
But yeah,
when you can it in cubes and you cut it up in cubes, does it have to be cooked first or roasted, or you just scoop it out and cut it up in cubes and put it in the jar?
I personally raw pack it.
Oh, okay. So you just pack it raw.
But they do. I think the USDA says to blanch it
Okay.
first.
I have
But
a ball
by
book,
the time
so I can
I've
look in there. But
by the time I've cooked it in the oven enough to cut it into cubes, it's already blanched. I just
okay.
want to, because I kind of roast it to get so I can peel the skin off easier. Cut it into cubes and can it.
Cute Kitchen Beyond, I feel the same way personally, but for YouTube, you have to talk about USDA stuff, approved stuff. You can get in big trouble for teaching people how to can the incorrect way, even though you feel it's correct, because of botulism and things like that. And people can die if you don't can correctly. So you have to preach the USDA. If you guys want to be a rebel, Facebook has the Rebel Canner on there, and they talk about everything like that. They talk about all that kind of stuff. So you can go on there and you can share even your canning recipes and stuff like that. But for YouTube, we have to talk about USDA. My goal is to get Tammy monetized, and we'll get her monetized. And then at that point, she can do like a paid membership to learn how to be a rebel, and she can teach those things about canning off the screen so she don't get in trouble. And then that would be perfect. But at this point, we have to do USDA, and I'm sorry. I love you guys. It's all good. But I just don't want to get dinged or flagged or anything like that. So I just ordered my poop troop shirt. Oh my God, Gardner Josh. I love you. Thank you. Woohoo, Josh, I'm going to do that soon. Oh God, I love you guys. You're great. Oh, that's so wonderful. What else? I don't know. It's up to you, Tammy, what you want to go over or talk about.
Well, we can still talk about the differences between the two. We briefly touched on price point. The price point is a lot lower for the Presto, so it's a lot easier for people who are just starting out to purchase a canner. They run between $65 and $95, so it's right below the price mark for the All-American. So we started to talk about it with the All-American, but we didn't talk about it with the Presto. So there's a price difference. Both of them are going to outlive you. So if you buy either one of these canners, your grandchildren will still be using it after you're gone. These things are still very much made in America. All-American, made in America. Presto, I don't think they're made in America anymore, all entirely. So that is something sometimes people want to know. It used to be made in America. I'm not 100% sure. I think I've read lately that they're not made in America. I'd have to verify that. But All-American is made in Wisconsin. So that is, a factor for some people. Both of them you can purchase at your local Walmart. A Presto, not an All-American. So, availability, you're going to have to order an All-American online.
Fishes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but she had a question, and I have the answer to that. I actually had, my stove was used. It came from Dustin's grandmother, and I didn't have the book to it. So I couldn't look up if I could actually even water bath can on my ceramic glass top stove. Oh. And so I was worried about that because I didn't want it cracking or anything like that. And you hear stories about how somebody put their pressure canner on there and it was too heavy in it. Yeah. So what you want to do is, if you still have the book to your stove, is you want to look that up. And if you can't, if you don't have the book, you want to look it up online to make sure that it's okay to put those things on top of your stove. I know mine is okay as long as it doesn't exceed the ring of the stove. If it goes over that, it could crack. So you have to keep it within the element of the stove. But yes, I would look it up first because every stove is different. And I know mine, I have a Frigidaire, I believe it is, Galaxy. And so I know it's okay to can on that. However, not every stove is the same. Look it up, look in the book, and if you can't find it, call the manufacturer and say, hey, can I can on top of this stove? I don't want anybody breaking their stove tops because they thought it was okay to pressure can on it.
And that is an expensive repair. I had to replace the $600 stovetop because my son dropped a bottle of vinegar on it. And I had canned on it for 4 or 5 plus years and not had a problem. The other thing that you have to look at is some of them say, and this is for water bath canners, you can't use a flat pan. It has to be the one that has the ridges in it, or vice versa. I can't remember. It's either you have to use the flat one, or you have to use the one that has the ridges. So you have to look too, because there are different kinds of water bath canners. Not all of them are flat on the bottom. Some of them have those rings in it on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And one or the other you can't use on glass top stoves.
That's good to know. I didn't know that either. I just recently had to replace, I had an old water bath canner and it was starting to rust. And it was one of those, like, I don't know what material it's made out of. But
granite ware?
Something like that.
Like
yeah.
The speckles?
Yeah. And it was starting to rust. I'm like, we got to replace this because it's going to ruin our stuff. And I tried to scrub it out too. I tried to use the scrubby. It didn't work. So my husband was really, really lucky and went on Facebook Marketplace and somebody was getting rid of a stainless steel one for $30. So we hurried up and rushed over there and grabbed it. And that day I could use it. And it was awesome. It came with the basket and everything inside of it. So yeah, and it's so big I can put my big jars in there too. So nice. Yeah. Nice. So I was really excited about that. But yeah, those things rust. If you have a problem with rusty water like I do, I highly suggest getting stainless steel stuff, because if not, yeah, it's enamel coated. Yeah.
And you need to really look those over before you fill them up and before you start working, because they will rust. Where the heating element touches the bottom of the pan, they'll rust right through. And if you are like close, I had one. I thought I got the new nicer one out, and somebody had rattled around in the cupboard down there, and I grabbed the old one that had a hole, not thinking. And when those just burst, it's like a dam going, all that water on your kitchen and countertop.
Yeah.
So always inspect those before you fill them up too.
Thank you, Gardner Josh, for the $10. That was really nice of you. We really appreciate that. Anything you guys give is it's just a gift from heaven. So we really appreciate that. And thank you so much for doing that. What other? I mean, I don't know. If you get a new All-American, it doesn't come with the peacock, right? It comes with something else.
Well, it can either have, you can buy them with the weights or you can buy them with the peacock.
Oh,
it's a personal preference.
Oh,
and you can switch that part out. It's just a screw thing. You unscrew it and put the new one on.
Oh, nice.
They do advise you have it tested if you make any changes like that. So you would then go back to your extension office and test the gauge again before you
I'm sure the extension office is probably tired of, like, especially the past couple years with new canners, they're probably like want to turn off their phone.
No, I think probably they're like, yes, I still have a job. People are still excited about this again. Yes. Where is this coming from? But why didn't they, I offer all these classes and they're not always filled, but all of a sudden now everybody wants to be here.
That's so funny. I have a pressure cooker that my parents bought in Uruguay and they came to Israel in 1982. That's awesome, Yosi.
Yep. Those pressure canners are going to outlive.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. Yeah. And I have another pressure canner too. It's a Presto. I bought it. Like we're flea market people. We always have been. I've sold for years at the flea market here. And I'm a flea market person. So if I come across a deal, oh my gosh, thank you, Ginger Ninja. That is so nice of you. I appreciate you. Aw. So if I come across a deal, I get it. So I have another Presto outside, but I don't know. I've never used it. I've had it for years. I don't know. So I'll probably have to take it to the extension office as well and say, hey, can you test this?
I buy them at garage sales. I don't pass one up. If I can find one at a garage sale, in a reasonable price. And I bought them from anywhere from 25 cents to $5.
Yeah.
And I will buy them. I will recondition them. I'll repair the handles. I'll put on a new gasket. I'll clean them all up. And then when I find somebody that wants to learn how to can, then I pass them on. And so I've done that quite a bit. It's, it doesn't really cost that much. It doesn't have to be an expensive hobby to get started. It's just all those jars and lids later.
So I had a question. What do you think? What about those Miros that you see everywhere? What do you think about the Miro pressure canner?
Miro is a Presto.
Oh, it is a Presto?
Presto bought out Miro.
Oh, okay.
So Presto, Sears, Miro. There's a couple other ones. They were sold by other names, but they were all manufactured. Like the Sears was manufactured right in the Presto plant.
Oh, okay.
They just wanted their own name on it. So a lot of the parts are interchangeable, and it's still easy to find a lot of those parts. And Miro was a very good company too, and Presto just bought them out.
Okay, I wondered because I've been seeing a lot of Miros on the shelf, and they're not Presto, so I was like kind of confused. They didn't say Presto on them, so I'm like, yeah. So but they're the same thing.
It's the same family, the same group. There's very little slight differences in sizes and colors, and that's about. You can get your Presto in Harvest Gold or Ugly Olive Green.
That's funny. This makes me want to go to the flea market early next weekend or something, and spot out the pressure canners. You know what I mean? I want to Labor Day weekend is a huge one around here, so maybe I'll go Labor Day weekend and take a look. I'm sorry we didn't come up to visit you. We wanted so badly to do that, but with my husband's arm and me canning constantly, I've seriously been canning constantly, and I just said we didn't have it. We didn't have time.
I was gone 8 weeks out of the summer. That didn't give you very many opportunities to come here and see me if I wasn't even home. And I moved from my huge house to a house that would fit in my old garage. Yeah. With room left over in the old garage space, because the whole house would fit in there plus some things. So I've been a little busy downsizing and moving out to the property, and living in a tiny house off grid doesn't make you there's no spare room.
Yeah, I understand. It just didn't happen this year. We'll have to do it some other time when we're both organized, but with my husband's arm, and then we'd have to find somebody to watch our son, because we didn't want to take him with us because he's wild and you could have fun, but it's not like that kind of fun. You know what I mean? So it's just.
You haven't met my wild things. Wild is what we consider normal around here.
That's fun though. But yeah, so we'll have to plan for it. I felt bad when we couldn't do it, but we just can't. We got too much going on. And then now my aunt and uncle are here from Florida, and they're staying for 2 weeks. They're here with my mom, and it's just, there's a lot. We have a lot going on, but we'll have to do it soon so we can meet each other. Maybe we can meet each other halfway or something too.
I want to run down that way and visit you, and then swing by Lehman's. So.
Oh yeah.
I gotta do an Ohio trip anyway.
Well, if you want to, some weekend, you can come down here and then we can go to Layman's, because Layman's is about an hour from me. So that would be fun.
We need to plan that.
Yeah, because I love going there. Like, I love going there. And
Rebecca's behind the camera. She's my cohort in camera person, and she's like pointing at herself going, I'm going with, she's volunteering to be my chauffeur.
Oh, nice. The camera person. She can be the camera person behind the scene.
She can be the camera person for us for this trip.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And drive. She's like, I'm the driver.
But yeah, so thank you, Bob, for coming in. Bob942. We love you, Bada Bing Bob. I don't know. I have these 2 pressure canners that just need to get done. They need to be on a stove. And I need to run up to the extension office. I know the Presto's cool because Michelle was literally using it before she got her All-American. So I know that's good. It's just this new All-American that I just got. And it's smaller. So I could put, pint-sized jars in there, and I can, if I had smaller amounts of stuff, I can just put them in there and it'll be good to go. But I need to get that tested. So, Hey, Mud Tramp, thank you for coming in, sweetie pie. We love you. We are talking about canning and the different varieties of canners and how you really shouldn't be scared to run a pressure canner. I know it seems scary, but you shouldn't be scared. So I'm totally going to can my pumpkin now because I want to make either pumpkin cheesecake or pumpkin pie. I haven't decided because cheesecake's my favorite. So
that's a hard, at our house at Thanksgiving, that's a hard choice. And we've went to where we have to have both a pumpkin cheesecake and a pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving because we just can't, you got to have cheesecake and pie. You got to have pie too.
I'm sorry, what did I miss, babe? We adopted what? Courtney and her husband adopted a feral child. They stay a little wild. Yeah, my son is wild. He really is. But I encourage it. When you're a kid, that's, you're only a kid once. Just be a kid. Enjoy it. I'm not going to get mad at him for playing in the mud or anything like that. You go out there and you play, honey. You play hard, and then you take a big long nap for mom.
That's right.
So,
and we'll put you in the shower after that mud bath and look,
hose them off.
It's gonna be great. People paid lots of money for those mud baths. And here we're yelling at our kid for doing what we'd go to the spa and pay thousands for. Come on.
Exactly. Used to go load up 16-foot flatbed with tomatoes that were left over from the chat's going fast, left over from tomato fields in Arkansas, and the whole trailer full. Oh my God, Mud Tramp, that sounds like a dream to have all that food you never have to buy in the store. That's amazing.
I can't think of what's the word for it. I glean potatoes up here. So I have a friend who works at the potato fields, and they call me when the farmer's done with the field and say, hey, if you want to pick up potatoes, go to this field at this spot.
Nice.
My kids will not eat potatoes anymore because of it.
Oh, that's horrible.
And I have a lifetime supply of potatoes canned. I will never, if I live another 50 years, I will never have to can another potato ever in my life.
Yeah. I love potatoes, and I've stayed away from them for so long because, I don't want to get diabetes, but potatoes any way, shape, or form is my downfall. Like, people think, oh, you like dessert? No. Just give me some potatoes with salt and pepper, and that is my downfall. So I've stayed away from it for so long.
I look at it this way. I'm Scottish, and there was one doctor once that said you should eat your hereditary foods. So I'm going to eat potatoes at every meal because I'm hereditarily, I'm Scottish. I'm supposed to be eating potatoes, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
there you go.
That's where I'm going. But
Well,
we're having for
I'm
dinner.
Irish, so
Yeah. See?
yeah. I'll just tell my
Yeah.
doctor that when she takes my
I
blood.
shouldn't be eating the corn. I should be eating the potatoes. Yeah. But I'm making potato volcanoes tonight for supper, where you it's a kind of a twice baked potato. You cook them, you scoop out the center, you mix it with sour cream and cheese, and you put it back in the potato.
Oh, so
and
it's
then
like a twice baked potato?
Oh, but it gets better. You wrap the potato with bacon.
Oh my God.
And then you put more cheese on top. And it looks like it's like bursting out of there when you take it out. And then you twice bake it.
Wow.
And
yeah.
I just went and got more potatoes today to do that.
That sounds
somebody
amazing.
ate my leftovers. The teenager ate my leftovers. How dare he? Now I gotta make more.
Mud Tramp, I feel the same way. If I ate my hereditary foods, I'd be a disaster. I would be a disaster. I can't go all out. Now I can have potatoes here and there, and every once in a while we go like, I don't know if you guys saw my short, which was, I thought it was funny. We went and got a dinner box from McDonald's one day, and we tell them every time, like, because it comes with like a 10-piece nugget inside, and we usually share it between all of us. And we say, hey, just, give us a variety of sauces. Well, they gave us hotcake syrup. They gave us jelly. They gave us strawberry jelly. They gave us like all this stuff that you don't put with nuggets. And we were just like, we just wanted a variety of sauces, not hot cake syrup, not all of that. Like, come on, use some freaking common sense, people. Like,
oh no, it gets better. I here at my local fast food restaurant, I said I want a burger with no condiments. They don't know what condiments are. They're like, you don't want lettuce and you don't want tomato and you don't want bacon on your bacon. I ordered a bacon double cheeseburger with no condiments.
So you just wanted meat and bacon
and cheese.
And cheese.
Yes.
Nothing else.
I do not like ketchup with cheese. I will not eat ketchup and cheese together.
Yeah.
So it's easier to say no condiments, right? Nope. They have the girl had no idea what a condiment was.
Yeah. It's probably hard for their computer system too, because probably the sandwich comes with everything. So then they have to go through the screen and write, no this, no that, no that. And so for a cash register person who doesn't run the grill, she probably doesn't know what all comes on the sandwiches either, which you should know if you work there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to rotate through. Yeah, my alarm clock went off. Hi.
Oh. Well, it is 1:00, so I hope we educated you guys a little bit on the canning, two different canners. I'm glad that I had those to like show examples, because that's really important when you're canning. So hopefully next week, I'll get with Tammy during the week. I'll, write everything down, and then hopefully I can can those kidney beans that I've been wanting to can. And I'll probably just do one bag, so I'm not like, overdoing it. But hopefully we can do that live, and we can, actually see this firsthand, and then I'll have Tammy to guide me. So. But yeah, so do you have any other questions real quick before we get off the air? Anybody out there? I want to give people an opportunity here. Hi, sweetheart. What you doing? You being wild?
Sleeping.
You're sleeping?
First week of school, and they have the first Friday off. What is up with that? And then next week they have Friday, Monday off. I didn't get that when I went to school.
I want to thank you guys for giving me the super chats. That's super nice of you. That keeps this channel going. That is another reason why I'm doing giveaway week next week as well. You guys have helped me with that, and I want to give back as much as I can. And so I love you guys. So thank you for the super chats, because that helps as well. thank you everybody for being here. I hope you get those shirts and that cup, the cups, the travel cups. I wasn't expecting them to be the greatest quality. And when I got mine in the mail, I was like, holy crap, this is a really awesome travel cup. It's not a sticker. It's like burnt into the travel cup. So it's super cool.
You're too close.
It's okay. But you want a Lawrence of Arabia shirt? Okay, guys. I love you guys. Well, thank you so much for stopping in, guys. I hope we educated you a little bit on the canners. And like I said, next week we will do our first online live pressure canning sequence here. So thank you guys for being here. You'll have a wonderful day. Tammy, did you want to say anything? Are you good?
No. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Courtney, for letting me come here and be on your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Stay canning.
All right. Bye. That was cute. Bye, guys.
Bye.